The online presentation of chosen of masters in fashion and textile design of GSA. I want to say something about the main project I produced in GSA. I chose World Wars as the inspiration of my whole fashion project, but the World Wars are too bold to be a concept of a fashion project. So I chose explosion and army uniforms as the inspiration of my whole project. Then I gathered a lot of secondary research about army uniforms during the war. For instance, this is the research I gathered. This is the army uniforms for women during the World War I. One kind of is a shirt with a skirt, and the other kind is a non-skirt. And besides that, this is the nurse uniform during the war. And I observed a lot of details by looking at the pictures. Yes. And the back of the army uniforms. And then I realized only the secondary research is not enough. So I gathered a lot of first-hand research. I purchased a copy of the nurse uniform during the war and the army uniform for men during the World War II on eBay. And I observed the construction details by tearing the garments apart. As you can see, this is the garment I purchased. Yeah, I try to observe the details. Yes, and as for the army uniforms for men during the World War II, I try to copy the patterns without tearing the garments apart. But in the end, I got the patterns of these two garments. And in the end, I got the patterns of these two garments. And as for other uniforms I like, but I can't find the copy of them anywhere, I choose to copy them by myself. I reproduce them by myself with white fabric. As you can see, this is a sample I produced. Yeah, sometimes the waist is too bold, so I try to change the patterns to make it more similar to the pictures. And after my first-hand research, I got the patterns of those garments as I mentioned before. And after that, the broken objects during the war gave me the idea that I can deconstruct and reconnect the patterns with different ways to develop interesting silhouettes. Yes. So that's what I did. I reconnected the patterns by different ways. So as you can see, there is a lot of interesting silhouettes in my experiments. Yes, and all this thing. Yes, after that, silhouettes in my experiments. So I choose to develop them into more successful silhouettes by drawing and tailoring. Yes, I choose my favorite silhouettes and collage their pictures together to develop more interesting silhouettes, and the drawing I can develop them into more successful silhouettes. Yeah, after I developed them to more successful silhouettes, I made the sample by white fabric to discover is there anything to improve. But my garments have several ways to wear, which is fit to the idea that design must be friendly to the environment. Yes, one garment have several ways to wear, where encourage people to buy less, wear more. For instance, it's one way to wear the garment. This is another way to wear the garment. This is another way to wear garment. This. As for the fabric, the inspiration of my fabric is broken wool. There is a lot of broken objects during the war, so broken wool is one of them. I try to burn the edge of the waste fabric and sewing them to another kind of fabric. Like this, I burn the edge and sewing it to another fabric. By this way, I can reduce the texture of the broken wool and make a good use of waste fabric, which is also fit the idea that sustainable design. And so the next thing I do is to combine the silhouette I developed and the fabric I developed together. And the silhouette of my design is already kind of complex, so the use of the fabric must be very simple. So this is my final design. This is my final design. I combine the fabric and the silhouettes together and try keep the fabric simple. Yeah, that's almost the main idea of my whole project. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching my video.